What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 268 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in. So go ahead and give yourself a round of applause as we get the show started just every week like we do.
Am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name is
Cameron.
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Talk about that loyalty for a moment.
I'm staying there to try to make a change. Get back to the youth, get back to my community and show them that there is hope that you can make it out. Only thing is you just got to be dedicated. You got to keep your head down and stay on this course that you're heading towards.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter. The fighter works for the promoter.
Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with him?
To me, it's easy to score a little bit more.
On your team, is Paul number 2 option or your number 3 option? On your team, 30 nights a year, he's my number 1 option. 30 nights. Can I finish right now?
Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me?
What do you
Which
think?
one?
What do you think about these upcoming?
Okay. Like I was saying before.
Well, every game's a new game, so each one's a different experience, different defense, different players, different game plan. So.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the
Oh
Fan
my goodness!
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
You were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
Real ones know what's going on, right?
Like you said, it's a different voice, so I think it's a big part of my game, and every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy
Yeah,
for the whole
yeah,
thing.
no, yeah, Cam, nobody.
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
Look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do knowing that.
surprised at that, Cam.
Hey, give here. It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do. Yeah.
There's my guy Snoop. You always hate on my guy Snoop. What up, Barry? There's my guy Snoop. Hey, Snoop said he stopped smoke. He gave up smoke, right? He said that a couple weeks ago, and then we find out a week later that it's just an advertisement for what the smokeless fireplace. Now I knew that was something. He had something up, but yeah, that's my guy Snoop. What up, Snoop? West. What's going on, Cleveland? How you doing, man? How was your Thanksgiving holiday?
I was great, Cam. Thanks so much for asking. Went out to my uncle's house out in Sun Katie. It was a cool Thanksgiving environment.
Right up until about 3:30 local time, when the San Francisco and Brock Purdy came on to that Lumen Field, came out of the tunnel at Lumen Field. You guys were so happy about that, were you?
I was not, Cam. Can you give me like one quick brief sec? I'll be right back. So
yeah,
sorry.
fans. Thank you guys again for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. I get to talking about Brock Purdy, and he don't want to have a discussion no more. Well, fans, as you guys know, each and every week we host a show just for you guys. You guys can be a part of the show by hitting us up at @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter, @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter, or hit us up in the chat bot or the chat box for however you're watching, whether it's on Voice of the Fans on YouTube.
Right back there, sir. My apologies.
I know I mentioned Brock Purdy and you got all nervous on me. You don't really you try to thwart that conversation as best as possible. But Brock Purdy wants to hear from you. He wants to know what you thought. But just a moment, I'm telling the people, giving them a round of applause for. Oh, they laughing at you for running when I brought up Brock Purdy. But I want to give them a round of applause for being on the show and telling them that they can hit us up at _ Voice of the Fans on Twitter. That's at _ Voice of the Fans on Twitter for their any questions, comments, complaints they may have, or they hit us up on the chat box. Whether you're watching us on Voice of the Fans on YouTube or HMB Media on YouTube, hit us up. You got any questions? Hit us up in the comment section, and we'll be glad to answer your questions on the show if they're censored, obviously. Fans as also hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like what you're hearing. And I'd like to know a separate question. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions you like in regards to sports. We'll keep it there for the show. But you're more than welcome to ask me any questions. But I'd like to know from you guys, how are you watching the show? Where are you consuming the show from? Let us know that as we move into this holiday season. It's a little brisk down here in the South, man. It was 29 degrees this morning, so it's a little cold. It's brisk. That's about the best I can describe it. No wind, no rain, just brisk. Yeah, man. That's all it was. My Thanksgiving weekend, man. I got away. I got away this weekend. Actually, took a trip down to the Bayou. I didn't.
The classic.
I didn't know what
classic stories for us.
At the remnants of the classic, but I didn't know that it was so close. It's 4.5 hours to get there. It's little over 5 hours to get back from where I'm at here in Bama. I didn't know this is the home of Bo Jackson either. I didn't know where I'm at is the home of Bo Jackson. Didn't know that till just today as well, or excuse me, yesterday. But yeah, had a little trip down to the Bayou. Went through the French Quarters and got some Pat O'Brien's Hurricanes. Got some Fat Tuesdays. It was got some good food down there. It was a pretty relaxing weekend. So yeah, that's how my holiday weekend went. And sorry about Brock Purdy coming up there ruining your weekend. So my first question, well, you can sip on that, but we're gonna get back to that one. But as fans, each and every week we start the show by letting you know, we give you a rundown. We're going to talk about the NFL Weekly. You see, I can't wait to get some Brock Purdy feedback from Cleveland. Try to ask him 3 times. The first time he tried to run off the show on me. But we're going to talk about the NFL week that was. We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about the Heisman race. Looked like somebody was crying on the sidelines. I don't know if that was because WSU crying in that they just squeaked by Washington State University, or that he lost. That was his opportunity for the Heisman. He cried away his Heisman opportunity. We're gonna get into some boxing and our fantasy football as well. We got some conversations to have on the fantasy football team. I don't know, Cleveland might try to run out the show on that as well. But fans, with it being week 200 November 19, week 268 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, we start our show and have been starting our show for years with the numbers game, Cleveland, with it being November 29. When you think of the number 29, Cleveland, who wore that number best, or who first come to your mind?
Cam, for me, it would be the great Eric Dickerson comes to mind first, and I also believe he wore it the best.
He wore it better than Rock Carew?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you might. I was thinking you might say Adrian Beltre.
No.
Huh?
No. Go Dogs. Thank you, Joe.
What's up, Joe? Stick around, Joe. I want you to tell me how you really feel. You say go Dogs today, but you might not. In about 5 minutes or about 15 minutes, you might not like what I have to say about that game over the weekend, because WSU put a scare in somebody. WSU had folks around here nervous. Eric Dickerson, obviously, that's an obvious answer. One of the top 5 greatest running backs ever run the ball in the NFL. When you think of the number 68, Cleveland, who comes to your mind first? Who wore that jersey number the best?
You know, Cam, I have to go with one of the members of the Steel Curtain Hall of Fame, L.C. Greenwood.
L.C. Greenwood, yes, definitely. One of the guys I was thinking about, Yarver Yager. Didn't he play in Pittsburgh as well?
Sure did.
I don't remember Albert Pujols wearing number 68. Where did he wear 68 at? Not in I don't remember Pujols wearing 68, but science is telling me that he did wear 68. So Cleveland, looking back at this weekend, who had the most impressive win for you? I thought the Eagles' comeback against the Bills was pretty impressive. That game went back and forth late in the game. I saw everything right up until Jalen Hurts running in the end zone. Shout out Kevin Muwai. Good call, Stevens. I didn't have him on my list. I thought the Eagles had the greatest comeback I seen. I saw everything right up until last I knew the Bills had won the game with their last minute drive. And then Hurts, I found out later that Hurts had equaled them and pushed the game into OT. Equaled and pushed the game into OT. What was the best win of the weekend for you?
You know, Cam, that's a close second, but the way that Jacksonville was able to stave off that loss in Houston for the division lead with the game-winning field goal hitting the top of the crossbar and bouncing back out was a good win for them.
That was a 50-plus yarder they asked him to kick, wasn't it?
58.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of ridiculous. So you thought that was the best weekend? I have the Broncos and the Packers as their better win of the weekend. Well, Broncos keep on winning. The Packers, I mean, Jordan Love got on track apparently against the Chargers, and he came out and had a game in his game. So those were my best wins. The worst loss was the Bills I mentioned. The Saints was they lost to the Atlanta Falcons. That was terrible. And then the Lions losing to the Packers. I mean, got smacked around, backhanded against the Packers. What's your thoughts there?
I definitely agree with your assessment with regards to that. I also thought that it was a tough loss for the Chargers, not being able to handle business at home. I also thought it was a bad loss. Okay, I also thought it was a bad loss because I know how you feel about the Chargers now. You made that perfectly clear. But I also thought that the lost the Patriots on the last second field goal to the Giants was rough.
Well, they missed the field goal, right? The Patriots missed the tying field goal, if I remember correctly. Right?
Correct. Yeah, your guy Belichick is struggling, and has been since Tom Brady left. But that's a conversation for another time.
Here we go. I mean, everybody wants to quickly throw dirt on Bill Belichick. Do they realize, Cleveland? I'm just ask you a couple questions. Mm-hmm. Who drafted Tom Brady? Just for
the New England Patriots organization drafted Tom Brady.
Oh, the New England Patriots organization, as if Bill wasn't pulling the strings there.
I probably had some input.
Whose call was it? Whose call was it to go with Tom Brady over Drew Bledsoe?
It was a Patriots organization decision, and as you can see, it worked out quite well for them.
Yeah, exactly. Stevens, I can't. Niners destroying them. Yes, that's an expected loss. I personally didn't expect you guys to beat the 49ers. Now let's see what my man thinks. And now that you see the full game, 64 minutes of Brock Purdy, Mr. Cleveland, would you like to let the people know what you think of Brock Purdy today?
My feelings are the same, Cam. He is great when he is in rhythm, when his defense is doing what they're supposed to do. He has a strong running game, and they can play, within their system. He's fantastic.
So sounds like you're still not giving any credit to Brock Purdy and what he's doing on the field. Sounds like he's still eluding
he's like an iguana. If the temperature is perfect. If the environment is absolutely sound, he's going to get the job done.
Ain't that nothing? So this is not a question I had ready for the show, fans. But tell me this: would you rather have Brock Purdy quarterback in your team, or would you rather stick with Geno Smith?
Brock Purdy.
Oh, really? Oh, would you? I think that just shows really, truthfully, how much Geno Smith has fallen in your eyes more so than you giving Brock Purdy any love.
Probably so. I think you're right with that assessment, Cam.
Yeah. I think that's really but that's interesting that you say that. And, that's interesting. We're going to go with that one, fans, because Geno Smith obviously can't. Geno Smith obviously can't do no good in some Seahawks fans' eyes now. Although Geno, gave him a lot to root for last season, gave him a lot to be hopeful for over the summer.
We're in 2023. We're in the here and now. We're in the present. We're in week 13. I mean, come on now. Why would you even make a reference to last year? That's weird.
Isn't Geno Smith have the Seattle Seahawks in playoff contention? Doesn't he?
I mean, just barely. I mean, if you look at the schedule, I mean, not really. Yeah, he holds the ball way too long, and he can't find open receivers, Joe. Spot on.
Well, is his receivers open? Is DK Metcalf getting open? Is Pocket Rocket? Is he as quick as
college
he used to be?
Receivers don't break wide open. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You have to have some type of chemistry and understanding and timing and rhythm, and he has none right now.
Wow, just so you guys are just so cold. I agree with you, Joe. I agree with you, but you see my co-host here, Joe, just 2 weeks ago wouldn't go down to unlock Brock Purdy out of jail if he had the key. So, I mean, so now all of a sudden he wants him leading his team. That's interesting. So, you asked for it last week. When does head start to roll in Carolina? And Tepper must have heard you. Tepper must have heard you because shortly after Sunday's game, I think it was, he said, Frank Reich, thank you, but no thank you. Turn in your playbook. Your key card no longer works here. And he's the first coach to get to heads roll there. And I explained to you a couple weeks ago, or when you brought it up last week, that Frank Reich, I mean, maybe we're asking too much of Frank Reich. Big career, a career that most known for bringing his college team back, most known for bringing the Buffalo Bills back. He was known as a QB whisperer for the QBs that he worked with early on. But his time in Indianapolis kind of really showed that he wasn't much of the whisperer some people have thought. Because thanks for chiming in, Joe. Appreciate you, babe. He's not as much of the whisperer as people have thought, because it was his call. He called up Matt Ryan. He called up Phillip Rivers. He called up Carson Wentz. And neither one of those guys could he get any turn anything out of and get anything from those guys. So how much coaching was he actually doing? How better was he making these guys? And as it shows, I would also say that Tepper talks about in his press conference how patient he is as an owner. He's fired multiple coaches now. Under his watch, multiple coaches have been fired by the Carolina Panthers. And if you're going to be patient with the quarterback that you have and still believe that he's a guy, I mean, you should be patient with the coach and the whole system and the whole regime, shouldn't you? Or should they be looking to call Steve Wilkes back? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, again, Cam, you see they fumble those decisions pretty frequently. This will actually be the 6th head coach that he's had since he's been there. That's an awful lot. He's fired Rivera, he's fired Rule, he's fired Reich, and always had an interim coach in the position when he fires those guys. The team rallied around Steve Wilkes. It's kind of hard to believe that he didn't actually get the job and they went with Reich, but they did what they did, and billionaires don't like to be wrong. They don't like to be embarrassed. He's been both so far. So we'll see where this goes. It's not other than the fact that there's only 32 head coaching opportunities, this is not an attractive place to go. That you basically have to win within the first 12 games or they'll be looking elsewhere.
I mean, you go in there and you negotiate a good buyout, that might be the ideal place to go if you can negotiate that buyout option. Because, like you said before too long, you'll be sitting on the beach somewhere counting, raking in those buyout dollars. Unlike you, Frank Wright, sure, they had a bad season. Sure, the season hasn't been probably what you expected, and it's looked even worse because of what's happening down there in Houston. But if you're looking for that same parallel that's happening in Houston, expecting the guy to kind of turn things around right away, the team is not the same team. They are worse than the Houston Texans are. And I'm not sure who expected the Carolina Panthers to be competing for a division title in the NFC South. I'm not sure who expected that. But to be 1-10, 1-11, that's probably a little less than they anticipated. But you got to give the young quarterback some time. Everybody doesn't turn around and flourish like your guy C.J. Stroud, or the guy Justin Herbert, or the guy in Indianapolis a few years ago, Andrew Luck. Everybody just doesn't. Those kind of guys just don't happen every year. Like, those are a special breed of players that typically do that. Correct. So you can't expect everybody to have that certain turnaround. In Chicago, they're still waiting for their number one draft pick to kind of show some signs, aren't they?
Well, Cam, first and foremost, he plays in the NFC South, so probably the winner of that division won't have a winning record. So, yeah, you can always be competitive if you just stay, roughly around 500. So to say that they didn't expect to be competitive is kind of weird.
They did. Did you expect the Carolina Panthers to compete for the division?
4-7 is competing in that division. They're 1-10, 1-11.
That's not answering my question. I know what competing in the division is. As you mentioned, it's barely around 500.
Well, yes.
My question was, did you expect the Carolina Panthers to compete for the AFC South Championship?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're not being
with the number one pick in the draft and Bryce Young. You're failing to realize, and we brought this up last week, and you didn't really want to acknowledge it. You can't be this far off between the 1 and the 2 pick and keep your job.
The team stinks. So are you not?
The Houston Texans stink, which is why they have the number 2 overall pick in the draft to begin with.
Well, clearly they have done a better job with their team overall, the composition of their team overall, right? Clearly they've done a better job of bringing some talent around their.
Okay, so what you're saying, Cameron, is that they made a better decision with their pick and a better decision with their pick as head coach.
I'm not.
They didn't have more. You can't say they had a whole bunch more talent because that's not true.
How's it not, Cleveland? What if you listen to what I just said? Clearly, they have done a better job of putting talent around their quarterback than the Carolina Panthers have. They have the Houston Texans have 2 future receivers that you can go into next season with, saying those 2 are our guys. Who's in Carolina to say that they traded away their best quarterback? Their best receiver, right? So there's nobody.
He had to do something to get Bryce Young to get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Again,
and
they
when
traded
you have the
away.
pick in the draft. You had your choice of all the players coming out of college, and that's who you chose.
The number 1 quarterback in this question. This is not the quarterback conversation, Cleveland. I specifically mentioned the talent around the quarterback. I specifically mentioned that. Clearly, Houston has done a better job of putting talent around the quarterback, haven't they? They have. Again, I will restate my position since you didn't hear me the first time. They have 2 wide receivers that they can go into the future with. Which wide receiver is Carolina going into the future with? Exactly.
That's up to Carolina. I can't say.
Exactly my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. So where you want to poo-poo the pick overall, Stroud there's no argument who's been the better quarterback this season. There's no argument whatsoever. Stroud is clearly surpassed, should be the rookie year. Some people have him in the MVP conversation, which is preposterous, but he's clearly been the rookie of the year. So there's no argument there. I'm not here to argue who is the better quarterback in 2023. What I'm talking about is moving forward. I'm not ready to poo-poo Bryce Young as a pick, as a productive quarterback in the NFL. But you got to put some talent around him. He's not able to do it by himself, and that's where Carolina needs to take some blame for not putting talent around the quarterback. Shame on them. And for that, Frank Reich gets the door. Cleveland, touch on the Eagles. Their comeback win against the Bills. Do the Eagles have 9 lives, or are they just that good?
9 lives. It was raining. They had to hit a 59-yard field goal to even get into overtime, and then when they did, Buffalo scored a field goal, and they drove down the field and scored a touchdown. I mean, I haven't seen this team really, although they're please don't bring up, please don't say this. But it really sounded like you're going somewhere. Please don't go there. But continue your statement. They haven't shown the ability to really impose their will on teams. You know what I'm saying?
They do it every week. What are you talking about? They impose their will.
They find ways to win in the same way that other team in Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh Steelers, find ways to win. You find ways to win, and that's great.
You're not comparing the defending NFC champion. You're not comparing.
It might win the NFC again this year, but I'm just saying, so far, I haven't seen that signature game.
Are you trying to compare the defending AFC champion with a 500 team, a team that's battling 500 in Pennsylvania on the other side of the state?
Well, Steelers are 7-4. Did you get that wrong?
No, did you get that wrong when you compared a 10-1 team to a 7-4 team, a team that went to the NFC Championship?
What I was saying, Cameron, is that those 2 teams in Pennsylvania find a way to win. Like that was the statement that I was making.
We'll discuss that other team in Western Pennsylvania later, if at all. But the Philadelphia Eagles, Cleveland, you said that you haven't seen a signature win. They haven't imposed their will on anybody. That's all they do is impose their will. That's all they do is impose their will on teams, and their will. That tush push is an example of will. Are we not? Is that not accurate?
I think if Valdez-Scantling catches the ball last week, they lose that game. There's some. I think that if Josh Allen throws the ball to Gabe Davis, who actually should be throwing the ball to, I think they lose that game. So I don't see a whole lot of margin for error with it. You know what I'm saying? They find ways to win, and I'm not taking anything away from them. They've been very workmanlike. They're 10-1. And they have the best record in the NFL. So I'm not going to take anything away from them. I'm just saying I haven't seen a real signature victory. It was like, ooh, now I see why everybody should be afraid of them.
I mean, they have 2. again, fans, if you guys weren't with us at the beginning of the season when we made our picks, I did pick one of the questions we had going at the beginning of the year was, can the Eagles avoid the Super Bowl hangover? And that's getting to the Super Bowl and not winning. And we see that now at 10-1, I think they're over the Super Bowl hangover. I think that's safe to say. Cleveland, the team has had 2 this season, 5-game winning streaks. Within that, yes, there have been some close games. Yes, there have been some close games, but their ability to win the close games kind of sets them apart. I think that's the test. That's more so than bludgeoning somebody 40-0, or routing a team 70-10. I think the score was against the Dolphins versus the Broncos. Winning close games is kind of what it takes, because these games, the NFL is a highly competitive environment. So your ability to win close games, I think, speaks more volumes than a 34-10 win. Would you agree with that? Well, I don't think you agree with that, but do you understand what I'm saying?
No, sure. You bring up a good point, but you fail to really acknowledge what it is that I'm saying. I think that a team that can score 30 points is a problem for them. And I think that a team that can score 30 points and take advantage of their opportunities to score when they have them and don't throw the ball all around like a Josh Allen is going to be a problem for them.
I mean, they just beat Josh Allen.
Being said, I still think that they're probably the best team in the NFC right now.
Washington, 2 of their last 3 opponents, 2 of their last 4 opponents, Washington Commanders and Gordie Howe, scored 30 points on them. Buffalo scored 30 points on them a couple games ago. Washington scored 30 points on them twice, in fact. Those are only 3 teams that scored 30 points on them. So when you say a team that scored 30 points on them is they're going to have a problem with, in those 3 games, the Eagles scored 34 points, they scored 38 points, and they scored 37 points. So I think their ability to match what the opponent's doing, again, speaks volumes. You have to win these close games. I think that ability to match what your opponent's doing and step up to the moment, and that's what I've been most impressed with. Again, I had them going to the Super Bowl, so I feel very comfortable with what these guys are going. My Super Bowl pick.
I'm so sorry, but then you jumped off that bandwagon.
No, I didn't jump off the bandwagon
because Brock Purdy, got his win, and the sparkles came out, which is why I got 2 elbows coming to me when they don't get to the Super Bowl.
Well, we're gonna see here shortly. In fact, this week, what that Brock Purdy magic is able to do, and we're gonna see how right I am. Either way, I'm gonna be right with goes down, because I don't think there's any competition in the NFC with who's going to the Super Bowl. It's gonna be the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll be fat and full.
Okay. So you gonna give me my 2 elbows right now? Then we didn't gotta wait.
You didn't let me finish. I'll be fat and hungry. I mean, I'll be fat and happy when the San Francisco beats them in the NFC championship. So we'll get there. We'll discuss that a little later with our pick segment. But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles are impressive. I mean, you say they haven't had a signature game. They haven't really bludgeoned anybody. And I think their test of will has been just matching what these opponents are going. Some good teams. I mean, they beat quality teams this year so far. It is not like they're beating, not like their counterpart in the division has beat some bums. They're beating quality teams to this point. And so we'll see how things shake out. How much on Thanksgiving Day, how much did the Seahawks miss Kenneth Walker? Because Charbonnet, when he had a full time, nobody in front of him, I again was not that impressed.
They missed Kenneth Walker quite a bit. I mean, Charbonnet's in his rookie year. He's just getting his feet wet.
Now you want to give a rookie some credit. Talk about his rookie year. He's just getting his feet wet. Now you want to talk about it takes time for a rookie. How selective can we be? How selective?
Yeah, he's the running back. He gets the ball and just has to go straight and find the hole and do his thing. So
How
Yeah,
much?
it was
You
asking
don't
a
have
lot
to.
for
You don't
Charbonnet
have to read
to take on
defense.
the 49er defense. It's going to be asking a lot for Charbonnet to take on the Dallas Cowboy defense. So, yeah, they missed Kenneth Walker a little bit. Yeah,
Just a
that's a
little
real
bit.
thing.
Okay. Just trying to figure out. And has the addition of Frank Walker, has that paid off? Have bringing back Bobby Wagner, has that paid off? What's
Frank Clark, not so
Frank
much.
Clark,
Bobby
okay,
Wagner, absolutely. Yeah, quite a bit of leadership, and he's playing a tremendous middle linebacker.
okay, and are you at the beginning of the season you were questioning their defensive back rotation? How do you feel about this 10 weeks into the season, 11 weeks into the season?
It's still a question mark. Didn't like Reek Woolen getting benched. Don't like the way certain things play out. Jamal Adams is in and out of the lineup.
Well, that's going to be my next question. How do you feel his return? Has his return been beneficial to this? Yeah.
I mean, Jamal Adams is bipolar. I mean, he'll either come up and make an incredible hit, like, wow, love to see that every play. And then, he'll just get spun around like a top and get lost in coverage and, throw his body into, some melee he shouldn't throw his body into and, separate his shoulder and be out for 6 weeks. So
would you trade him if you could?
I would trade Jamal Adams if I could, but how can you trade Jamal Adams at this point?
I mean, again, he was one of those top rookies. So Russell has the Broncos on a roll. I think Russell's deserving of apology right now from you, sir, because you was bashing him pretty tough. I know you called Sierra. I know you could try to make the back channel phone call, but I think on live on air, I think you deserve an apology. You deserve to apologize to Russell for your bashing of Russell.
No, we talked about it. Like I said, we straightened things out, and I expressed my feelings. We're cool. We're good.
So share your thoughts with the fans. I mean, share that conversation with the fans, because the fans haven't heard you apologize to them.
Well, sure. Basically, what I said was I'm glad that he's in an environment and situation where that's a little bit more structured, and that they're calling, a certain percentage of plays that are effective for him, and they're just running with that as opposed to kind of letting him dictate everything that's going on. And they've been a better team for it ever since they made that decision.
So at 6-5 right now, they're second in the West there, in the AFC West, that is. Just out of the playoff rush. They're actually tied with Houston. Is it realistic to think that the Denver Broncos can make the playoffs? Considering
it's absolutely realistic. I mean, the way these things shake out, like you said, they play Houston this weekend. They get that game. Houston 6-6. They're 7-5. I mean, that's significant, right? And they hold a tiebreaker.
Yeah, Buffalo don't look like they're going to make it. Cincinnati doesn't look like they're going to make it. We never anticipated the Raiders making it. The Chargers aren't going to make it. Tennessee isn't going to make it. I think Tennessee was in the playoffs last year, if my memory serves me correctly. Indianapolis is in their way. I mean, are they going to hold on? I mean, Minshew Mania. Are you bought into Minshew Mania?
No.
Where Minshew go to school?
I can't recall.
But you're still not bought into Minshew Mania, and I mean, he has the Colts at 6-5 right now. When you thought the Colts were going to be dead by this time,
I did, and kudos to him for holding them together while Jonathan Taylor was able to get healthy. Now Jonathan Taylor was hurt again, but we don't really actually know what it is that they're going to do. The future was Anthony Richardson. Unfortunately, he was, hurt and not able to finish the season. So, Gardner Minshew has certainly been a good stopgap, and he may, potentially get them into the playoffs.
Fans, let's see. Let's see where his head's at right now. Would you take Gardner Minshew over Geno Smith right now? No. I think there's some bias in there. I think there might be some bias because he wore the Garnett and Gray years ago. You don't want to give him no credit. But would you? I'm gonna ask you one more time. would you take Gardner Minshew and Minshew Mania over Geno Smith right now?
No, not right now.
Oh, you need another week or two to decide? Well, we'll come back to that. We'll couch that one. How about that? We'll couch that one and come back to that one right now. But yeah, the Colts have them in the playoffs right now. That's interesting. The Colts are in the playoffs. Has the clock struck 12 on Josh Dobbs?
That depends on if Justin Jefferson comes back.
He's coming back this week. He'll be back this week.
Well, then no.
Oh, you think Justin Jefferson can turn it around? I mean, it's not like he had some bumps. They have Addison. They had
It's not like they have some bums, but they don't have Justin Jefferson out there.
I mean, but if you don't have time and awareness to get in the ball, and Josh Dobbs, I told you I like Josh Dobbs coming out of Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh drafted him. But some of the stuff that he tries to do on the field, it's like, yeah, Josh, just eat the ball, bro. Josh, he'll throw it with his back turned to the defense, and he's being rushed out of bounds. He'll just throw it up in the air. And I'm Josh, come on, bro. For a rocket scientist, man, that's not the brightest thing for you to do. And that's some of that is just surprising to me. What he tries to do in game action. My guy, Tyreek Hill, the cheetah. Did you hear what he had to say?
No, enlighten me.
The cheetah says this Dolphins team is better than the Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl, that he won the Super Bowl with. Did that give you any hope, or should I have any more confidence in my team going to the Super Bowl with that assertion from Mr. Tyreek, the cheetah Hill?
No, this team is certainly faster. It's certainly got more explosive players at the skill positions. But we already know what, Miami's issue is going to be going forward. We'll see if they can overcome that, but they don't, they don't have, they're not going to have home. Well, maybe they have home field, we'll see. That's going to be an integral part of it.
They're winning their division. Like, you don't want to give them credit. You had them not making the playoffs. They're going to win their division. You have to be shocked by that.
No, I changed the not making the playoff thing a long time ago, Cam. Come on now. They're going to be in it. I'm a Miami Dolphins supporter, but I just, I see it with realistic lenses on. So I already know. I already know how this show ends, and so do you. You just don't want to admit it.
Well, I'm not predicting Super Bowl, but how does this show end? Help me out.
They're not a physical team, and they're going to have to play a physical team, or they're going to get into an environment that's not ideal.
Who's physical? Buffalo. They got Buffalo coming to Miami. Who's physical in the AFC East? Baltimore? You think they're going to run?
Jacksonville's physical. I am real sure Baltimore is physical. I think Houston's pretty physical. There are some physical teams in the AFC.
Houston's not going to be in the mix. They're not.
Baltimore's not physical enough for you?
Houston. I said Houston.
Oh, okay.
It's not going
Jacksonville not physical enough for you.
Jacksonville, that other team.
Pittsburgh not physical enough for you?
Pittsburgh won't be in there.
Pittsburgh won't be in the playoffs?
Pittsburgh won't be in Miami's way.
How do you know? Have you done the playoff seeding already?
Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett. Come on, who Mike Tomlin has again more wide receivers.
TJ Watt and Patrick Peterson and what's that other guy? That safety guy's name? Minka Fitzpatrick.
The defense can only do so much. You need to score points.
They can do enough to slow down that offense. And those guys are, they're pretty. They're, they are talented. They are athletic.
He called my Miami Dolphins pretty boys right now. That's what he just said. That's what he just called my boy. Okay. So that means they got to show you how tough they can be. All right, let me get the word to Tua Tagovailoa. Because Tua's he's healthy. I don't know if you noticed this or not. There's no injury issues.
Hey Cam, yeah.
There's no injury
you
issues.
gotta stop the conversation when you start talking about Tua and his health.
He's healthy.
What can I say? Cut it out, man.
What can I say?
I'm not even gonna jump down that rabbit hole with you. Nope.
There's been no issues.
Not the way you have talked about Tua Tagovailoa since he came out.
And he's proving me wrong.
I'm not gonna entertain even 20 seconds
this year.
a conversation about you telling me about Tua Tagovailoa being healthy.
Let me say this before I move on.
Nope.
Yeah, I gotta get Eric back on the show. Eric predicted 15 wins. He predicted 15 games. I'm sorry. Yes. He predicted 15 games for Tua this year, right? And what did I tell him when he said that? What did I tell him? When he said that, I told him immediately, Eric, if he plays 15 games this year, the 2 games he takes off, that's because we're in rest situation. We're in rest mode. I told you that at the beginning of the season, did I not? Did I not tell Eric that at the beginning of the season?
Man, Cam.
Oh, now you
went to talking about injuries and health. No.
So okay. So you're gonna make me go to the tape.
I'll hear no such thing.
You're gonna make me go to the tape because you know I said
but it's been years of you talking about Tua and how frail he is. Fragile.
And he proved me wrong this season. This season he has proven me wrong. Last season, not so hot. But what did you say? It's 2023. Why are we even talking about last year? That's last year. So this season, he's proving me wrong. I'm with it. I can admit when I'm wrong. I can admit that. Go Tua. Go Tua. Tua. It's Tua time, baby. Go Tua. That's good.
Man. It's a shame.
Do you expect Rodgers to play this season?
No.
I'll take the system, Budnick. I'll take the system.
Wow, he said system. Wow.
I'll take.
I would kind of put that on like a player like maybe a Brock Purdy or
look at this. Look at this one.
Or Jalen Hurts.
Look at this, Budnick. Come on, dog.
Ooh, wow.
Budnick, come on.
He said Justin Fields could do the same. That's a
Budnick.
Bit of a stretch, but okay.
A bit of a stretch, Budnick. I don't know where you calling from, Budnick. Where you tuning in from? Let us know. With that last comment, I would have bought you saying the two was a system. I could buy that one.
But back to the Aaron Rodgers thing. The reason that I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers is not going to play this season is because the poor quarterback play is not going to have the Jets in the position to be in playoff contention, which is why he's not coming back.
I think I had that at the beginning of the season. Did I not?
No. How you have it at the beginning of the season?
I did not tell you that the Jets would not make the playoffs, Cleveland. Do I have to go to the tape on that too?
Oh, right.
Do I have to go to the tape on that one too, Cleveland?
No, you don't. You did say that. Okay. It was out of spite.
And out of spite?
It was well before. Yeah. It's well
before. Out of spite. That was facts. That was Camp Anawana. Okay. Fine. All right, Camp Anawana. I hope you put some bug lotion on SOS so you don't get no bug bites out there, smart ass. Speaking of, he brought up Jordan Jeffers. Budnick brought up Justin Fields, Mr. number 1 draft pick surveyor. Looks like the Bears are going to have number 1 draft pick. Do you move on from Justin Fields or do you draft Caleb Williams?
You keep Justin Fields. You trade the pick.
What?
Yeah.
What? That's not where I expected you to go with this one. You keeping Justin Fields? You've seen enough for him to pay? You're going to be paying him $40 million next year or within 2 years. You see enough from Justin Fields to pay him $40 million?
I've seen enough to say I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to turn this team around. and given the right situation and circumstances.
Okay, Green Bay in the house. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, Green Bay, what's up?
What exactly? Excuse me, Cleveland. What exactly do you agree with them on, Chubbs? You seen enough from
that he can do some things. I mean, if he has like you're saying, if they put some talent around him and they have the right system, I think he can be a serviceable NFL quarterback. I'm not quite
really
100% convinced that Caleb is going to step in and wave a magic wand and change all that. And I think that with the number 1 pick in the draft, especially in this draft, because remember last draft, it was Bryce Young and CJ. And there was question marks about both of them. There are no question marks about Caleb. Some team is going to come up with the Monte Cristo wheelbarrow full of picks to get that number 1 pick. And you'll do the same thing. You do the same thing last year.
So
the number 1 pick.
It sounds like you're saying
move down.
It sounds like you're saying this,
but then you also get the number 1 pick next year, and it's the number 1 pick.
Cleveland,
I would trade
it. In one breath, you're saying there's no questions on Caleb Wilson or Caleb Williams. There's no question on them, but you don't think he's going to wave the magic wand and just make your team better all of a sudden. That's what you think?
I don't think so.
How can you say there's no questions on him though?
On Caleb?
Yeah.
Caleb can make all the throws. He's dynamic. He's, a great NFL prospect. But what you have in Justin Fields is someone that you feel is top 15. So
you got Justin Fields. You have Justin Fields not today, or he can be is what in the future potentially. Is that what you're saying?
I'm 100% sure that in the future it could be top 15. I think that you would be hard pressed to name 15 quarterbacks better than Justin Fields right now.
You make me want to put out a list, Cleveland.
You can pull a list out, man.
So you would rather take you think the wheelbarrow picks are going to be better for the Bears than trading Justin Fields, getting a couple picks, and taking Caleb Williams?
You're going to get so many more picks for the number 1 pick in the draft this year than you would for trading Justin Fields. That why wouldn't you keep Justin Fields?
Because we're 3 years into this experiment and he hasn't really shown that he's a passing quarterback.
He's had some flashes of brilliance. No one ever said that he was a passing quarterback. No, they said the same thing about Lamar Jackson. Look at him now.
Are you comparing Justin Fields to Lamar Jackson?
I think Justin Fields throws a better ball than Lamar Jackson did 3 years ago, for sure.
All right, Chubbs. No quarterback in Chicago will ever be good. They just want to try and replicate the 85 Bears team. It's been a long time since 85 though. And they're going to keep trying. A wheelbarrow picks will be a wheelbarrow bus for the Bears.
Wow.
I don't know. That's a tough question. I personally don't think that high of.
Would you rather have 3 number 1s for your number 1 pick this year, or 2 number 2s and a 1?
I think if I'm getting the better quarterback, because just as Chubbs points out, that wheelbarrow picks has the potential to be a wheelbarrow bust. If you really feel that Caleb Williams has no questions, there's no questions about what he could do. He can make all the throws. He's a dynamic. I have questions about his leadership abilities. Jumping into his mom's arms after they lost a game and crying, it has me questioning his leadership abilities. Now, that's without me talking to his coaches, without me talking to his teammates in college. I have questions about that. Shows me leadership. He doesn't have leadership intangibles. That's what that shows. He can be as dynamic as he wants to be on the field, but if you can't lead these guys, that's something else. I haven't seen enough from Justin Fields to say I want to hold on to that guy. That's me personally. If I'm paying Justin Fields,
and that's fair. I mean, he hasn't dazzled you, and that's understandable.
This is his third year, I believe. This is his third year.
Has he shown you enough to be like, yeah, he can be our quarterback for a couple of years?
Listen, here's my point, and here's why I might lean to moving away from Justin Fields. This is his third year in the league. I'm not sure if he has a 3 or 4 year deal with the Bears, but either next year or next offseason, they're going to be on the hook for $40-45 million what a player's going for nowadays. Now he's not going to make Justin Herbert money, but he's going to be making $40 to $45 million a year. For $40 to $45 million a year, I have Caleb Williams for 5 years. So if you're telling me that Caleb Williams can do everything on the field, can I teach him to be a leader? Maybe not. But can I get 5 years out of Justin, or my 5 years out of Caleb Williams going to be better than me paying than what I can get over the next couple of years with Justin Fields? I might be leaning to Justin Fields just from the financial aspect because I'm not that sold on him. And I got maybe I have to put some feelers in the water and say, yo, Carolina, what would you give me for Justin Fields? Well, they're not.
No. The number one pick is already Carolina's pick.
Yeah, no, no. Carolina was the wrong team. But Tampa Bay, what are you willing to? How much do you like Justin Fields? New York. Do you guys need a backup quarterback? How well do you like him? I'm trying to call.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to put the feelers around.
But what you're not gonna get is as much for Justin Fields as you will for them.
Understood. I get that, and that's either Justin Fields or a bushel of picks. I understand that, and I'm telling you, as Chubbs mentioned, that bushel of picks could be a bushel of bums. And I'll take, if you're telling me there's absolutely zero questions on Caleb Williams other than his leadership, I might be interested in taking Caleb Williams just from a financial aspect because I know in 2 years I'm gonna be on the hook for 40 to 45 million per for Justin Williams, Justin Fields, who I'm not excited about, who hasn't showed me enough to dazzle me. He ain't really turned me on. So
yeah, it's a tough spot.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But that's my assessment. But yeah, that's gonna be a good question. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see that this Carolina Panthers story, like how this transpires now that they've let the coach go. And I mean, over the next couple of years, I mean, we're gonna be. We thought an eye was heavily on Bryce Young coming to this season. The eye is going to be heavily on Bryce Young over the next few years because if CJ Stroud continues this progression, then your perspective rings louder and truer, right? If that divide just continues to widen, but I'm not ready to throw Bryce Young away. I'm really not. I mean, it's too early. In my opinion, it's a little. So, fans, as you know, each and every week we make our picks. I'm usually right. Cleveland is off wrong, so we'll prove how this thing works out. Here's our supremacy rankings from last week to this week, Cleveland. Cleveland, you got who changed in your? You got Dallas. You got Detroit is kicked out, and you brought KC in, huh?
Yeah, you kept Dallas at them. You kept Detroit at number 3 after losing to the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. That's weird.
Yeah, that was an oversight on my part. I did have Dallas in there. Oversight on my part. Yeah, probably KC should have been up there in number 5. Baltimore should have moved up. Dallas should have. I got San Francisco ahead of you. That's probably where my thing should have went. It should have been went more like yours, except I got San Francisco ahead, and that'll be decided right, this week. Yeah, that was an oversight on my part. Here's how our picks shaked out this week. We both took Green Bay Lions, or excuse me, we both took the Lions over Green Bay. We saw what happened there, fans. We both had New Orleans over the Falcons, and the Falcons New Orleans just can't stay alive. I don't know what's going on in New Orleans. I had the Rams over Arizona. I'm just really not that confident in Arizona, although Kyler Murray is back. The Rams, I think, are a better team. And I had Cleveland. I knew it was kind of touchy, but my point here was, I thought Cleveland's defense would slow down Russell and stop that ball from rolling. But Russell just keeps rolling it right along. He made another great touchdown pass right on the sideline, right? Another end zone pass where only his man can get it. Like, Russell's done that, 3 weeks in a row. Like, how can this continue to happen? And he did it again, and he got the win over the Browns. And Minnesota should have beat the Bears. And that's why I said the clock has the clock struck 12 on Josh Dobbs, because there's no reason the Bears should have won that game. The Bears gave up 4 fumbles, and they only kicked field goals. So there's no, come on, Minnesota should have won that game. So we both were 75% on the week. 12 out of 16. Cleveland went. Look at Cleveland. I think this might have been your first week going 3-0 in your picks against the spread all season long.
Right? Young Sam made a triumphant return. It's been a minute.
I don't know how triumphant it was, but this is a good job there. But I'm still ahead in the picks against the spread segment. We want to take a narrow lead there in the overall picks for the year. Here's our confidence picks for the year, or for the week. Cleveland again went 100%. I mean, I might have to get some our forensic specialists on this, but I'm not sure if those numbers are accurate. But the stats show Cleveland went 100% last week. Fans, my pick for this week is my games of the week are the Seahawks versus the Cowboys. Cleveland, is that game of the week worthy?
No.
You don't think? Are you that hard on Geno, man? You don't think Geno has nothing for the Cowboys?
No.
So Pete Carroll, who's the quarterback coach over there? They can't do nothing to get Geno right?
No.
Wow. You're just down on Geno. Man, you guys see it here. You're just down on Geno. I mean, I don't know if Geno came and slapped you with $1,000 right there. Would you have anything good to say about Geno then?
No.
This guy can't give Geno no love, man. No love. But boy, how quickly things change. Jacksonville Jaguars versus Tennessee, or the Houston Texans. Unsuspected game of the week.
That was last week.
Who Jaguar got this week? I'm sorry.
Jaguars got the Bengals coming to town this week.
Oh, excuse me. That should have been the Broncos versus the Texans. My bad, fans. That should have been Broncos. I'll change that right now. Should have been the Broncos versus the Texans. Russell back in a game of the week scenario, and the Texans. CJ Stroud. This is for a playoff berth right here. Seemingly, I mean, obviously a playoff. It's not winning you get in, but it's win and keep your hopes alive. We're going to get to who you can pull out now. And then obviously the 49ers and Eagles NFC Championship preview is what that is. But how do you feel about the Broncos, these games of the week right here? You don't like Seattle versus the Cowboys. Broncos versus the Texans. You have to feel good about that one. And 49ers versus the Eagles. What game am I missing?
From this schedule, I don't really see any games that you're missing. This week is kind of a tough week, to be perfectly honest with you, with regards to the games with what is it, 6 teams with buys this week. So, yeah.
I mean,
I think you're pretty much, spot on with the games of the week. Less the Seahawks Cowboys. I think it's going to be very memorable, but we'll see what they do.
I mean, if you force me to watch some of these games, if I'm forced to watch,
this week is for a true NFL fan.
I'm trying to find some good in this. The Colts and the Titans, that might be the best game that unmentioned.
Wow, Steve, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying that might be. I'm just talking about a good football game. The Colts.
I know that's a true NFL fan.
These are both,
these
500-ish teams.
Games are gross from top to bottom, except for the 3 you picked. The only other game that I'm somewhat curious about is the Chiefs and the Packers.
I mean,
can the Packers continue what happened on
Thursday
or no?
They got 2 in a row after playing the Chargers. I wouldn't expect the Chiefs to cough it up against the Packers. However, oddly, this is only a 6-point spread here. That's oddly a 6-point spread. I mean, the Bengals and their, Browning. You had no confidence in Browning. Were you a Browning fan at UW? Did you like Browning there?
Browning took our team 12-0, took us to the college playoff, but it was always visibly apparent that he has, kind of a noodle arm and no ability to push the ball down the field. And now we're playing NFL football, so it's just even worse. That weakness is going to be magnified. So it's unfortunate for the Bengals.
So picks against the spread. I got the well, let's go through our picks here and see which ones we agree on. Which one I'm taking on a leap of faith. Not even faith. I just think the Atlanta Falcons stink out loud. And if the Jets do anything, I mean, they're gonna Jets coming on the field. If they come on the field in those black uniforms, they're gonna scare the Atlanta Falcons into giving up 2 touchdowns. And so the Jets, I think the Jets. Here's where I think the Jets defense can actually win a game. I got Denver. I got Denver over Houston. You got Houston over Denver. I'm going with Russell to keep the ball rolling. Russell has been Magic Man all of a sudden. Russell,
I'm mad at that at all.
And Houston, I mean, this is CJ Stroud keeping the ball rolling. Upset over the loss. That's what you got. That's why you got CJ in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's at home. I mean, they barely lost that game by 3 feet last week. So yeah, I think they got a taste of what it takes to win. Although they didn't win, but yeah, they know they need to take care of business against the Broncos. And I think they will.
And I got Detroit, bouncing back from an ugly loss. You got New Orleans. Do you think Detroit golf is turning into the pumpkin that we suspected he might be?
I think the team overall, I mean, they're starting to show some weaknesses here or there. I mean, I think the adrenaline is kind of worn off a tad bit, and now we're into that part of the season where it gets colder and the teams get better, and there's a lot more at stake, and this is on the road.
They're going to the indoor team.
I'm sorry?
They're going to an indoor team. It's not like they're playing outdoors.
No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I get that. But I'm just saying as the season wears on, the games become a little bit more important. And, there's, what do we always say, Cam? There's a whole lot of tape on those guys. So, they have weaknesses. They're susceptible to certain things. And I think teams have just kind of started to pick up on it a little bit.
So you've been beating up Bryce Young in that Carolina Panther regime, but you have them beating Tampa Bay. What gives?
Yeah, well, that coaching change. A new voice in the room, and Jim Caldwell is a true quarterback whisperer. So I think he's gonna do some positive things with Bryce Young, and they have a chance. I mean, clearly it's going out there on a limb as an upset. They only won 1 game this season, so. but the Bucks haven't really shown me a whole lot to this point. So
I don't think they show much
since starting out 3-1, they're 1-6 since then. So
I got Cleveland over the Rams. Just counting on their defense. I know they don't have a quarterback, but I'm counting on their defense to kind of do some things over the Rams, who not really scary to me. But you going with Stafford, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was real impressive the way with Kyrie Williams coming back, they just kind of put their foot on the gas and just kind of steamroll the Cardinals. Now again, it is the Cardinals. Maybe I'm putting a little bit too much credence into that, but they look good to me.
Yeah, it was the Cardinals. I got Denver picks to get the spread. I got Denver, Philly, and KC. You got Jacksonville, Dallas, and Philly. You have zero faith in Geno Smith. I see.
Zero.
Can you go less than zero? Are you less than zero?
I am less than zero at this point. Yes.
Wow, man, so harsh. I mean, what Geno do to you?
Can't find open receivers, throws the ball around and holds the football too long.
Well, it's not like he has a running game. What do you expect the man to do? He don't have no running game. The DK Metcalf can't get open, or DK Metcalf. Ask you this question: Is DK Metcalf the Draymond Green of the NFL? He can't get open. He complains about the ref on there.
No, because he's actually a number one diva receiver. Draymond is a role player. So I mean, clearly, does he let his emotions get the best of him, and does it become a distraction? Absolutely, but no, man, he's our number one receiver. So he can't have that Draymond comparison, other than he lets his emotions get the best of him. From that perspective, yes.
All right, picks against the spread. I'm going with the Chargers. I'm giving the Chargers a point right here. I'm confident the Chargers can get a W, get off the snide here. Brandon Staley keeps his job another week. Dallas, Miami, KC, and Jacksonville.
So you see that we have all the same games, just in different order, right?
So yeah, I see that. So okay, so I've had to change the way I make my picks. I'll let you guys in on those. Let you guys in on the little secret. Cleveland is in charge of this chart, this spreadsheet. So when I see this spreadsheet to make my picks, what I now have to do is immediately black out Cleveland's picks so I don't let them taint my decision. So I figured out a way how to black out Cleveland's picks, go ahead and insert my picks, and then it's like a unveiling.
But fans, somehow it's the same picks.
It just so happens.
Just in a different order.
That just happened to be.
That's just coincidental, even though he blacked out my picks.
That is truly 100% coincidental.
Okay.
See, it's 100% coincidental.
Wow. The only difference, fans, is he has KC at 4. I have KC at 1. He has the Chargers at 1. I have them at 2. 3 and 4 flip-flopped.
I mean, what you want me to do?
Come on, man.
Well, you think I'm picking?
Yeah. You're trying to act like my picks don't have any influence on your picks, but clearly
they don't. I'm telling you. So I have block out the. I'll show you guys how I do it. Actually, can I do it from the screen? I can do it from the screen. Actually, go here and I go black out. Well, let's see, because the font is different. It
doesn't really actually work. Yeah, I see. Fans, he doesn't really actually do that. After all that pontificating,
because the font because the font is different. It works different in the Google on the Excel.
Oh, word for real.
It was. Believe me, fans. I'm not taking this dude's picks. Believe me, his picks have no influence on my picks. And just so we can go back and look, fancy again. I keep records of this stuff, man. Just so we can go back and look. Do you guys see the biplanes anywhere in my playoff predictions? This is our 2000 2023 playoff predictions. The Jets
in July, fans.
injury.
We did this in July.
This is August. This is in August. But you don't see anywhere. Do you see the Jets in my? And let's look over here. Oh, the Jets win in the East. How did that look? How's that looking right now?
Well, fans, the 2 of the 4 picks that I have both lost their starting quarterbacks.
Man,
just throwing that out there.
Yeah, shit happens, right?
It does.
Shit happens, right?
That's why picks that happen in July don't necessarily have that much relevance in December.
Well, they actually do.
Do they?
And just so let's look. I don't think we did this. Have we did this?
Because you had the Bills winning the division. That's clearly not going to happen, right?
Yeah. But I had the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Chargers in the playoffs. That's clearly not going to happen either, right? Or the Bengals. That's clearly not going to happen. And they're not going to win the division. That's clearly not going to happen. So
are the Steelers making the playoffs?
Yeah.
They are? You think so?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. So let's look at the top stories of the year. Let's see, Cleveland, what you want? Is Tomlin not having a losing season? Will Belichick make the playoffs?
No, it says Belichick will not make the playoffs, is what that says.
The Jonathan Taylor saga comes in, gets hurt. Can Chase, what did you see in Chase Young? How'd he look?
Oh, he's been revitalized, invigorated, rejuvenated since going to San Francisco.
The Eagles experiment. Will Jalen Carter have an impact? Has he had an impact?
Yeah.
And how will the Ravens offense? How will this transpire? Have you seen anything different, or is it still?
They've been way better. They have a little bit of an obstacle to overcome with Andrews coming out. We'll see if Likely can fill his shoes. Not 100% sure, but they've been.
Fun. Zay Flower finally got off. Had a good game against the Chargers. Been looking for more out of him actually this season, but he finally had a good game. Going into the season here, my number one question was how many games will Tua play this season? That was my number one question. Aaron Rodgers signing with the Jets. How did this end? As we said, fans, it ended 4 plays into the season. How did the Chargers rebound from a horrible playoff loss? Well, it doesn't look like, fans, they have rebounded. It doesn't look like they rebounded at all. And do the Eagles avoid the Super Bowl hangover? If we go back to my selections, I had the Eagles winning the division here, winning their division. I had the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Now this has since been amended, but I did at the beginning of the season pick the Eagles to win the Super Bowl and play the.
And fans, just for clarification, he's amended it to say that the 49ers will be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brock Purdy leading them to the Super Bowl, yeah. And I was so confident in my assertion that Brock Purdy was a playoff type quarterback that can lead his team to the Super Bowl that I was coerced into putting something behind it. So what do we have on Brock Purdy?
Well, it's 2 elbows you're gonna owe me when the 49ers don't represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And 2 pounds of ribs.
That's what we got, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, I was coerced into. So Cleveland didn't want my pick to come out right. He challenged me to make my pick. So fans, I amended my pick. Is what happened. So that's how we kind of some of the things that we were looking at the beginning of the season. And you can see our predictions at the beginning of the season, how they were back in August. Cleveland doesn't want to Cleveland needs to, he didn't even watch preseason, but he wanted to wait a week into preseason, a week left, or maybe we did this on a bye in the week in between. We did it in August. I'm not sure when, but because Cleveland can't he has no foresight way to do this before the season started. So that's our picks for this week, Cleveland. Let me go ahead and get that off the screen. What do you think about our predictions? Of course, you think you were spot on, right?
No, I like him. I mean, I see where the errors in my judgment were. No Joe Burrow, no Aaron Rodgers. It's going to look different. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, decimated by injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and have never really looked that solid. And even when they do, they can't finish. So that's not a thing. I picked New Orleans. Someone's got to win that division, right? Or did I pick the Falcons? You picked New Orleans. Someone's got to win that division, right? You had the Packers in the playoffs. Wow. I mean, still it didn't look so crazy. Probably won't happen, but not completely out of the realm of possibility. So, as the season wears on, things happen. So,
moving into the NBA, Cleveland. It's still too soon, Cleveland, for fans. It's still too soon for Cleveland to have opinions on where players are and what's going on with specific teams, because we don't pay attention to NBA standings till when, Cleveland?
After Christmas.
You only got this excuse for another few weeks. So, but speaking of excuses, somebody else making excuses already. What do you think LeBron James means when he says changes need to be made?
Oh, he's basically talking about the health of his team, Cam. He said the team has to get healthier. There's not a whole lot of decisions, roster wise that can really be made other, than perhaps trading for Zach LaVine. We'll see if that happens. Of course we got the big number 0 coming next year from Boston. So probably just have to hang tight and wait for that one.
The big number 0. What? You think Tatum want to play in Los Angeles?
That's word on the street, yeah.
Or are you talking about Porzingis?
No, JT. Word on the street.
No, you talking about Zach LaVine from Chicago. From what I'm hearing is the Lakers peeking over and looking at Chicago's roster. They're looking more at DeMar DeRozan and trying to get Caruso back, see if they can remend that relationship. What do you think about that?
I think that also works as well. DeMar, coming home, Los Angeles is one of those places where players like to come home. It's pretty evident. Look at the Clippers over there. Everybody wants to come home. So, I'm not opposed to that either.
Southern California is it's a nice place to live, Cleveland. If I may say so.
Oh man, don't shed a tear on me, man. Where's the handkerchief at? I can't reach out to you.
If I may say so myself.
I can't reach out to you, Playboy. Won't reach that far.
Yeah, man. Speaking of that other team in Los Angeles, the Clippers. The Clippers stars lose to the Nuggets without their stars. Was this a worse look on the players or the coaching staff?
No, I mean, Cam, as we said, it's going to take 35, 40 games for those guys to get their chemistry, get, an understanding of where each other wants the ball, where they're supposed to be, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be some growing pains, and then we'll see how it all shakes out when the playoffs start. If they make the playoffs. Right now, they're not in the playoffs.
Well, we got a lot of seasons to play, so obviously they're not in that pre.
Sure. Right now, they're not in the playoffs. So.
But we don't talk about standing, so I don't know why you brought that up.
Oh man, he was throwing on the heat on me, fans. but now when it comes to the Clippers, he wants to wait till January to reassess. Understandable.
Can the Timberwolves sustain their winning pace right now? They're in top 4 in the West right now. I think 12-4.
Not sustainable.
Can the Magic sustain their pace at 12-5, tied for Philly in the 4th in the East? 3rd in the East, actually.
No, not sustainable.
Who were we talking about? Who were we talking to? And they laughed me off the screen when I said the Magic can potentially make some noise this year. Who were we? Who was
I believe it was me and Tyler laughing you off the screen.
Because like I said, the Magic can make
You
some
said the
noise.
Magic and the Rockets. You threw both of those guys in there. Yeah.
I mean, the Rockets, they beat your boys by 30.
A long time ago. That was weeks ago.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. The season only not even a month old.
It was weeks ago. Don't matter.
The Suns, the Mavs, and the Thunder. Yeah, right now the Rockets are 8-7. The Suns, the Mavericks, and the Thunder are tied at 11-6. Which team do you have the most faith in making the playoffs? Which two teams?
The Suns and the Mavs. The Oklahoma City Thunder are about to get crushed by off the field,
off the court
situation.
Save that topic. The Clippers, the Jazz, and the Grizzlies. Clippers 7-9, Jazz 6-11, Grizzlies 3-11. Which one of these teams do you have the most faith in making the playoffs?
Oh, okay, I have the most faith in the Clippers somehow trying to, somehow, some way trying to fight back in and making the playoffs.
Fans, if this you can tell the insincerity in his voice when he's talking about the Clippers.
No, I mean they have a much better chance than the Jazz. And who was the other team that you mentioned?
The Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, well, no, they're not. They're not even. Why would you even put them in the conversation?
I mean, they were a playoff team from last year, so you got to recognize.
But they're 100% not going to make the playoffs this year, and everyone knew that.
Well, I don't think anybody expected them to be 3-11, missing Ja Morant. Like,
really? Why not? They thought Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr. were going to step up, and Marcus Smart was going to provide some leadership for him.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose, the 2011 MVP of the league. Sure. Sure.
I mean, they have fallen off. Talking about somebody's hot seat must be warm.
Nope. You can't warm up a seat when your number one player is running around there flashing guns at everybody. It's not the coach's fault.
I mean, Taylor Jenkins, you got to reel this dude in somehow, right?
No, that's not the coach's job. It's not the coach's job to bring in someone that makes $200 million. That's not the coach's job.
Okay.
Not even remotely.
What's the coach's job then?
To provide an atmosphere where those players can flourish and be the best players that they can be.
And when you guys out and about around town,
nope,
wielding guns and beating up teenagers,
nope,
that's not him.
Not on the coach, not even a little bit.
Wow. I mean, for some reason, if this was happening with the Seattle Seahawks, I mean, you would find Pete Carroll some kind of responsible at some point.
No, head coaches lose that responsibility after they leave college and go to the pros. That's no longer their responsibility to do that kind of stuff. They're not father figures. They're not mentors. They're not, hey, guys, do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it. That's not even remotely the same thing.
You're still holding on to this players don't need. Are you still holding on to this players don't need mentors type idea? A deal?
Yeah, I am.
Shamefully. Okay. Did the play? So okay. Be honest, Cleveland. The fans know what you think of the playing tournament. They know what a farce you try to make this thing, and you try to make of this farce, I should say. Did the playing tournament get your attention and get you to watch any more games?
Are you talking about the in-season tournament or the playing tournament?
This in-season tournament.
Oh. Well, I mean, now it's in the quarter, so it's a little bit more exciting.
No. The question was, did the playing tournament and these fancy jerseys and these corny courts, did they get you to tune in and watch any more NBA basketball?
Not so far, no.
Okay. So, but you got excited last night when some teams could win and they win their win.
Yeah, now we're in the quarters. Now it's starting to get to be meaningful games for the tournament. Yeah.
So we're in the semifinals. The Suns versus Lakers we get on Monday.
We're in the semis or the quarters? I thought we were in the quarters. We're in the semis already?
Yeah, semis start Monday. It's already been decided. It's between these 8 teams.
Okay.
The Suns play the Lakers on Monday. Celtics play the Pacers later. So Pacers it'll probably be just because of the way the schedule works. It'll probably be Celtics, Pacers, and then Suns, Lakers. One game elimination. Who moves on?
Oh, so it's just like that. Just the winner of the Suns, Lakers against the winner of the Celtics, Pacers. Oh, well, yeah. Then yeah, I'm hyped. Let's see what's up.
Who moves on? Who moves on?
Oh, we got Lakers, Celtics, like always.
Well, no. So that's on Monday. Then the Pelicans and the Kings play on Tuesday, and the Knicks and Bucks play on Tuesday.
Oh, so that's what I was asking. So
and then the finals. So and then there's the semifinals, and then the winner of the Suns Lakers will play the winner of the Pelicans Kings in Vegas. The winner of the Celtics Pacers will play the winner of the Bucks or the Knicks versus Bucks in Vegas, and then that winning there'll be whoever wins those matchups will be competing.
Okay, well the Bucks beat the Knicks, the Pelicans, depending on CJ McCollum's health, beat the Kings. If CJ
you still don't have no damn faith in the Kings.
What's that?
You see? You still don't have any faith in the Kings. You didn't see what the Kings did to your boy Steph Curry and the crew last night. Malik Monk, who the Lakers dissed.
No, he left. We didn't diss him. He decided that he was too cool to hang out with LeBron and them. Hang out with the King. It's weird.
I mean, you better wake your eyes up against the Kings. But yeah, your boy is playing, and this is the thing. There's not like you can't say for the last 3 weeks these teams have been on a roll, right? Because I just asked you, LeBron just said a couple nights ago that something has drastically got to change with this team.
Okay, so but my question to you is CJ McCollum playing or no?
No, I don't think CJ is on the.
Okay, then I think your Sacramento Kings have a chance to win that game. If CJ was playing, I would say no.
I don't think CJ has been cleared to play.
Okay.
I don't think CJ has been cleared to play. So, but you answered the question. You haven't turned in to watch any more basketball because of this damn tournament. And again, it's not like we could say the Lakers have been on a streak this last 3 weeks. The Suns have been killing it the last 3 weeks. They've been playing basketball for a month now, and it's been like they're picking select games to say, okay, these have been the best teams to move on. This needs to be the whole month of November Like this tournament needs to be the whole month of November, and then they whittle it down to the final 16, the Sweet 16, the final 8, the final 4, and then have the final 4 go to Vegas or something like that, something to that effect. They can't just play random games, random tournament games, and expect the fans to be into it. I don't think that works. I think that it needs to be a consistent 3 week. This is our 3 week tournament. Everybody competes in, and all these for 3 weeks they're in a tournament action. It can't be tonight's a tournament game, tomorrow's not a tournament game, to Saturday's not a tournament game, and Sunday is a tournament game. It can't be that BS. It needs to be 3 solid weeks. So if it takes you give them 3 weeks to round into shape and then put the tournament on, that's what you need to do, Adam Silver. It just cannot be random games selected because now it looks like the teams are winning. The Kings have I think the Kings won 4 games. They went 4-1 in this tournament, quote unquote. So they're going into a tournament with a 4-1. The Lakers are 4-0. Like that doesn't make any sense. How do you have a tournament 5 weeks into the season and there's 5 games? The team goes in there with a 4-1 record. That doesn't make sense. It needs to be the whole week of the 3 weeks in November, and then you have the first, whittle it down. I just came up with the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final 4. Just popped in my head, but that's what they need to do for the first 3 weeks of November. Maybe that'll garner some more attention. I don't know.
That makes some sense. Make it a a fluid tournament.
Yeah, it needs to be all tournament action, and not some games are tournament action, some aren't. It needs to be all tournament action. Cleavon, you mentioned a couple stories off that's been off the court issues, but before we get to that, did you see Kyrie against who did they play last night? Jeez, I'm having a brain fart. But the play Kyrie made where he jumped on one side of the backboard under the defenders and laid it in on the other side of the backboard. Did you happen to see that highlight?
I did not see that highlight.
It was reminiscent of Jordan when he jumped through the New Jersey Nets at the time, and Derek Coleman, where you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
We jumped through him on one side, on the left side of the hoop, and then finish off the glass on the other side of the hoop. It was very reminiscent of that. But Kyrie is 6'1". Kyrie is 6'1", so it looked a little different. And obviously he had some English on the ball. Who finishes better? I mean, it's always been an argument who have the better handles. Kyrie, Curry, Isaiah. Always been an argument who has the better handles. But who finished around the rim better than Kyrie? Like, there hasn't been many guards that finish like Kyrie around the hoop. I help me out. Where am I wrong? Like he has to be the best to do that.
I mean, maybe Allen Iverson. He might give a little bit of,
Kyrie much sweeter around the hoop than Iverson. Much sweeter.
Perhaps Iverson was just more fearless in going, at the basket, but actual finishing around the hoop. That might be Kyrie.
Yeah, left hand, right hand, oopsie, upsie, up and down, oopsie daisies. This Kyrie is so nasty around the rim. Like I don't. Oof. I probably should have had that play pulled up for you. But I don't think there's been many players finishing at the rim better than Kyrie. It's been, it's been incredible. That dude, the way the dude finishes at the rim has been just unreal over his career. Let me see. Trying to see if I can pull this up. This is some hot. But yeah, it was rather impressive, man. It was rather impressive. I can't get to it. So you talked about some off the court issues. What do you think about Russell and the fans arguing in Dallas? Russell complaining about the fans calling him off color names, calling him out his name. What do you think about that situation?
Oh well, yeah, Russ is sensitive. You know, he's been sensitive for quite some time, ever since he's left Oklahoma City, where everyone wasn't, worshiping him. You know, and now he's on the back end of his career and on the, coming off the bench and whatnot. Yeah, I can see how that could get under his skin pretty easy.
You called a man sensitive. So should the fans have go to the stadium? I mean, there was a situation in with the Phillies Bills game where it was the Eagles Bills game where what it was Eagles fan was yelling at screaming at the Bills lineman, defensive lineman, and the lineman went over there and pushed him because he said he was calling him out his name, etc. Should the players have to deal with this? Do you have a ticket? Are you inclined to boo? I mean, we talked about last week where Pop, told the fans to stop booing. Should fans have the right to boo and cuss out the opponent team if they want to?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get physical or too personal.
Because that's what made Cameron Crazies, so wild. And you remember the heckler they had in Washington D.C. Dude was
Loves that guy.
Dude did his homework. Dude did his homework and came to the game and was like, telling about
your
lawyer.
Job. He was a lawyer. He was a lawyer. Sat behind the bench and just knew everything about him and just heckled him to death. Had him turning around looking at him like, who is this guy? Yeah, all after game. Love it.
So you have no problem with the fans just getting at the players, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there are instances where it goes too far, when they were in Portland talking about, Mad Max's, dead infant child. I mean, that's okay. Yeah, you're way over the line, dude. Like what are you talking about? Like, or someone's mom dying of cancer, you're laughing about it, you're way over the line. But if you're just like I'm just talking about you and your clothes and you're dating a Kardashian and Robin Figure. Yeah, exactly. Exactly him. That's soak that up, man.
You good with that, Bootzilla? You're all good with Robin Ficker getting after you? Is there a situation where they can go too far? Like, I don't. You think Russell, or do you think Russell is being too sensitive in this situation?
Russ is being too sensitive, man. Way too sensitive, and especially in 2024, man. I mean, the level of what people are going to do and say in all kinds of genres and medias is just outrageous. It's off the chain. So something you have to deal with, homie. For sure.
Talking about having to deal with something. How did the Thunder handle the situation with Josh Giddey?
They try and get ahead of it, but I think they've already done that.
They say he's gonna play until further notice.
Yeah, but they already know. I think they already know it's coming down.
Yeah, he said Russ is being too sensitive.
Yeah, it's all the time. It's all the time with Russ.
Yeah, it's been a few more than usual. 1 or 2 incidents.
His years have gotten far more sensitive since the triple doubles have come way down. So.
But the Giddey situation, man. So Giddey's 21 today.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened 2 years ago in 2021. He was 19.
Okay.
And the girl was 17. Like, what are we talking about? Like, there was a 2-year difference.
We're talking about 2023 rules, man.
The guy is what do you want to call him? It's not. It's a Gen Zer, right? They're Gen Z. Like he's a TikToker himself, so he meets a girl on TikTok. I mean,
and she's underage. Yeah, it's illegal.
I mean, take me to jail. Because I was a year out of high school. My main girl.
Man, we're not talking about 91, man.
My main girl was.
I don't want to hear your 91 story, man. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about when you had just graduated. Your girl was a junior. No.
Right. Exactly. So come on. What are we talking about? So there's no.
We're talking about 20,
there's no juniors in high school dating a dude in college.
Nope.
That what we're saying? That doesn't happen.
If they do, it's illegal.
Cleveland, there's no. You went to the UW. If memory served me correctly, you went to the UW right after high school, right? Newport High School.
Yes.
Where there are no high school girls at the UW at the Red Square parties.
That is in 1991, man. 2023, that doesn't happen, or it's illegal.
So no high school girls go to college parties nowadays. Is that what you're telling me?
They
in
should.
2023, no girl in high school goes to a college party. Is that what what you're trying to tell me?
If they do, they go there to socialize and hang out, and hey, man, that's the end of it.
Socialize, hang out, drink water, and play Monopoly.
If they're drinking alcoholic beverages, it's illegal.
That may be the case. Now you seem like you probably threw a couple parties where maybe there was some little youngin squeaking butt through the door, and you feel obligated to make this a point that it was not going on in your dorm room. That's what this sounds like.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What this sounds like. I am saying the rules are vastly different in 2023 than they were in 1991. You remember BBD? I was just telling my wife this story the other day. BBD, backstage, underage, adolescent. How you doing? Fine. She replied, I decide, like to the wild thing. That's not a thing. That is not a thing in 2023. So sorry. Straight up. You say something like that in 2023, you are straight to jail, my dude.
That was a good one.
They're eventually going to find enough material. They're already starting to pull stuff from social media. They're running frantic, but there's too much stuff out there. And as I've said many times, all they have to want to do is want to know bad enough, and then they'll just find out.
So this consenting, you can't.
No, parents are already backtracking. Parents are like trying to get out of it too. The parents are the ones that said like, "Oh man, this is horrible. What was he doing to my daughter?" Nothing like that. But that's not the point. It's 2023. It's a professional athlete. That person was not 18 years old.
In the story. So he's going to be underground in Oklahoma City for.
They don't even care in Oklahoma City, so he won't be underground in Oklahoma City. But yeah, he will be in trouble over this. Certain parts of the country obviously feel differently about it than other parts of the country. So I don't think that Oklahoma City is one of those places where they're just going to be throwing him under the bus, but at the same time, the legal process is the legal process. And I believe the girl's from Huntington Beach, right? From California?
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. That's where the Huntington Beach police is starting a process.
How bad do they want to know? And now they want to know really bad. So it's
maybe the NBA doesn't want to know really bad, but the authorities clearly.
Everyone else is dragging their feet except for the people that want to know really bad, but they want to know really bad, and there's enough out there that eventually this is all going to come to light, and that dude is going to be in trouble.
So does he make it to the All-Star break?
Yeah,
on the team.
I think so.
So you think he might play the season? This might be a off-season story.
No, it depends on what their motivation is. You ever notice that with sports stories, it's like, so for example, I went to the University of Washington, right? Jeremy Stevens drove his car.
I still want to know about those the parties at the Red Square and who was supplying the alcohol. I still want to know that. If any girls from Newport that you went to school with,
That's in the 90s. That's in the 90s.
What do you mean? I still want to know if any girl you went to high school with ended up at that party. That's what I want to know.
So I'm back to the Jeremy Stevens story, okay? In the timeline of
you see how you voice that question, right, man? You see, fans, you see how you voice that question.
So Jeremy Stevens drives his car into an old folks home in like October, like the second or third game into the season. It's all of this media stuff going on and on and on. This is horrible. He was out of control. And then they go 4. And then they go 5. Then they go 6. So now all of a sudden the case is pushed out to January.
All of a sudden, not so important.
All of a sudden, it's like March. So they get to the bowl game and they realize he's, about to be a number one, first or second round pick. And all of a sudden, that case is like next year. Like, it depends on how badly they want to know, like what the circumstances are. If, OKC is, vying for a playoff spot and you're still trying to do this, you're going to slow it down a little bit. Unless they just find something crazy and they just decide to pounce on it, but that's up to them. Depends on how badly they want to know.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. All right, do we need a break, man, or you want to speed through the show?
Let's get through
it. Thank you guys for tuning in, fans. Give yourself a round of applause for sticking with us. Week 268 of Voice of the Fans podcast. Each and every week we play our numbers game, fans. We usually come back from break with a section This Week in History. What we're going to talk about today is some stuff that just happened in the past that may have slipped people's mind, may have forgot, or some stuff we never known about until now. 11/26, 1885, Cleveland. National Negro Medical Association was funded. 1895. 11/25, 1955. Segregation in bus and terminals banned by Interstate Commerce Commission. 11/28, 1961. Former football player Ernie Davis, Syracuse alum, was the first African American to win the Heisman Trophy. We're going to get to some Heisman Trophy conversation here in a little bit. 11/29, 1978. Vivian Alexander Anderson made history when he stepped out on Wembley to play for England against Czechoslovakia. First black man to play football in England. Cleveland. 11/29, 1989. Ricky Henderson, you might remember him, signed a $3 million per year contract with the Oakland A's. That was a record at the time. $3 million per year. Players wouldn't even play today in baseball for $3 million a year.
And they want to win.
In 89? 8/29, 2016, former NFL player Darren Sharp sentenced to 20 years for a series of rapes. Oh, Darren. And that was a Bill Cosby type situation. So Darren Sharp. But 11/29, the Roofies. I couldn't think of it. It was the Roofies. 11/29, 2015, British Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton finished second in the season, ending Abu Dhabi F1 Grand Prix, winning his third overall, second consecutive World Driving Championships by 49 points. That was Lewis Hamilton Jr. Now, Cleveland, let's see how honest you can be. How nervous were you over the weekend watching your Washington Huskies?
Man, Cam, never nervous, man. I always knew that they had it all under control from beginning to end. You know, this is a well-seasoned bunch, and, you know, they were going to do what they had to do. Then.
Never nervous. Your guy Penix. Talk to me about what you think of Penix today.
Honestly, Cam, I think that he's struggling with some type of injury. He was not particularly accurate that game. At first, you know, for the first half, I was like, maybe he's just a little hyped up, you know, like, you know, none of the throws looked sharp, or, you know, looked a lot like Jake Locker. Just everything was just like a fastball. Like, where are you throwing it? Why are you throwing it like that? And it never really got a lot better over the course of the game, other than he has Rome Odunze to throw to. So, you know,
for the last 2 weeks. What are you talking about?
What's that?
I said over the course of the last couple of weeks, it never really got better.
No, I mean, Saturday looked particularly bad. I mean, you know, there were some drops by Polk and, you know, some miscues here and there, but the thing that made the team explosive initially was that they had a whole lot of receivers that you had to deal with. But if you just have one, I mean, they're kind of, I don't want to say average, but I mean, they're susceptible to losses. And, you know, I joke when I say I wasn't at all nervous. I was extremely nervous the entire game because they never pulled away from Wazoo. Wazoo's not a great team.
Thank you for admitting that.
Yeah. And, you know, I got to the point, I was like, am I going to have to watch Wazoo in the hopes and dreams of a perfect season in the Pac-12? And it was a realistic possibility up until the field goal at the end of the game when, you know, the field goal kicker had missed 3 of his last 4, clutched up and hit one. That was great. But they have some work to do to beat Oregon for sure.
I mean, they handed Oregon handed Oregon one of their only losses.
Their only loss of the season. That was a completely different time. You know, college game day came out here. I mean, it couldn't have been any more crazy of an atmosphere. Although I know quite a few people that are going down to Vegas to watch the Pac-12 championship. It's not a home game, and these teams are. I won't say they're going in opposite directions, but I think Oregon is a lot better than they were when we played them, and I don't think UW is playing as well as they were when they played them the last time.
You're totally down on the boys, huh?
Not down on them. I'm just being realistic. I mean, if they can get the offense back to where it was when they played them the last time, then it's a completely different story. But like I'm saying, there's been a lot of drops. Penix hasn't looked himself the last couple of weeks, and you know, I tried to attribute it to nerves last game. I hope it was just that, because, you know, Friday is going to determine whether they go to the college football playoffs or not, most likely. I don't think they get in with a loss.
Well, fans, I'm glad Cleveland admitted he was nervous. I'm really happy he admitted he was nervous because I had somebody looking out for us last week. And I'm going to show you the image I got. I'm going to show you guys. I'll show you guys how the image I got that said my guy was a little nervous over there about what was happening. What is going on? Cleveland, you're lucky right now. What is going on with my share screen? Oh my goodness. So, do you think? What do you think about their chances this weekend against? What do you think their chances are against Oregon?
I think they have a great chance if they can reestablish their offensive game. I think their defense is quite a bit better than it was the last time that we played Oregon, all the way across the board. But the offense has not kept pace. So if we can hang on to the ball, get some special teams plays, we're playing better defense. So it just is a matter of if they can get the offense back to where it was last time we played them.
We have more confidence than this.
That's not even during the game. That's after the game.
Oh,
that's relief.
Oh, that was relief? You laying on the floor?
That's relief. Yeah. That's after he made the field goal.
This is how you show your elation and your confidence in your guy.
I was overcome with joy from the fact that I was not going to have to hear from any Wazoo fans because I had obviously been talking to thousands of them. Once you get to thousands of Wazoo fans that you've been messing with, if this actually happened, it would be it would be horrific. So
so this is why you wouldn't take my take my calls?
Yeah, no, I'm superstitious, Cam. I don't take calls during Apple Cup games from people that don't understand what the Apple Cup's about.
What do you mean don't understand what the Apple Cup is about?
Yeah, you're not a part of it. You make fun of it. You think it's like a joke. You don't understand the seriousness and the severity of had the Huskies lost that game.
I mean, it looked like it looked like I don't know. This don't look like a sign of relief to me, fans. What do you guys?
That's relief. That is relief after the game. After he made the kick, I crumpled down on the ground. In relief that I was not going to have to listen to a whole bunch of Wazoo fans talking all crazy.
Is that what that was? Okay.
That's what that was. That was after the field goal. Now, there are some other pictures during the game where I'm concerned, irritated for sure. But no, that was after the game. Like I just thank goodness I don't have to hear all that, man. Thank goodness the Cougs didn't ruin the first perfect season in Pac-12 history.
Oh, that would have been the first perfect season?
No, we completed the first perfect season in Pac-12 history.
So you think they have a good chance to win this weekend?
On Friday, a very legitimate chance. I mean, I know that right now Oregon's favored by 9.5, which is
by 9.5.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're 9.5 points better.
Is this why you're looking like this? Because they're favored by 9.5?
Yeah, that's about third quarter. I want to say that's a third quarter look right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he wouldn't take my call, fans.
That's irritated. Yeah, that's highly irritated.
Wouldn't take my calls. Wouldn't return my texts. I'd have text that underage chick to get this picture. I mean, I'd have, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to talk about that one. I didn't go deep into the sources and get that pick, fans, because he wouldn't take my call, believe it or not. So let's talk about Penix after the game while you were on the floor, calling relief. Hopefully you had the hanky chip with you. Your guy Penix, he couldn't even watch the last field goal go in, and I guess it was a security guard, the Husky security guard, that watched over his shoulder. That while the fans rushed the field and everybody's celebrating, Penix didn't look up from the little medical tent, I guess it was, or medical bar. I'm not sure what it was, but he didn't look up for the next 10 minutes. They couldn't get an interview with him because he was in his feelings. And when they finally lifted him up, he had I know it was cold up there, but he had the purple hoodie on, trying to cover his face, and you could tell he was crying and in tears. Cleveland, was he in tears because he just lost the Heisman Trophy? Was he in tears because he was shamed about his performance? Was he in tears because they just barely won the Apple Cup? What was going on with my man? Did you see that image, or you was in your own tears down there?
I saw when he couldn't look at the field goal, Cam. I didn't see all the other stuff that you're referring to. Yeah,
he didn't leave that position for 10 minutes after the game, till 10 minutes after the game, while the fans were storming the field.
Well, yeah, it's a culmination of all those things, Cam. You set out to go perfect for a season, and you go perfect for a season. There's a lot of emotions that come into that.
Oh, that's all it was.
It's 2023, Cam. I can't fault the quarterback for being about his feelings.
Would you agree that he lost his Heisman Trophy right there against the Wazoo?
I don't think he put up enough numbers in the last couple of games to win the Heisman. He would have to do something quite heroic on Friday to do that. I think it's pretty much Daniels from LSU at this point.
Jaden Daniels, yeah, I agree with you there. The college football bowl predictions, or the not the bowl predictions, excuse me, but the rankings came out. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State. Georgia plays Alabama for the SEC championship. Should Georgia lose to Alabama, does Alabama vault to number 1?
No.
Do they vault into the top 4 to make the playoffs?
No.
You don't think so? If they beat the number 1 ranked team in the country, the team has won the last 2 college football championships. If Alabama was to win, they don't vault themselves into the playoffs?
No.
So hypothetically, Georgia loses. Michigan moves up. If Washington can beat Oregon, do they move up to number 2?
Yes.
So who goes to the? This is what I was getting to. Bootsilla. So where does Alabama go? Where did Alabama, Georgia, and Alabama aren't going to be out of the playoffs?
So in that scenario that you just aforementioned, if Michigan beats Iowa for the Big Ten title, then Michigan would be number 1. If Washington beats Oregon, then Washington would be number 2. Georgia would be number 3. And then if Florida State beats who are they playing in the ACC championship? If they win the ACC championship, then they would be number 4.
And
So
the only SEC team would be Georgia at number 3.
Yeah.
How do you and what about Louisville?
Thank you. That's who Florida State plays.
Good call. That means Georgia, Michigan. Who would win that game in that scenario you just broke down?
No, in that scenario, it's Georgia. It would be Michigan, Florida State, and it would be UW, Georgia.
Can is UW ready for that?
Is Georgia ready to stop all that stopping if the offense is back on track? I don't know.
No, so we got some good games worth watching this year in the college football championship, right?
Yeah, with still some room left to determine who's going to be who and who is who and what is what. So, I'm not really ready to get the brackets out just yet until after Friday and Saturday, and after the committee decides what they think of what happened on Friday and Saturday.
So we talked about Caleb Williams earlier in the show, but does Caleb Williams any chance he returns to USC?
No.
Bobby Petrino, welcome back at Arkansas. What's your thoughts on Bobby Petrino?
Never liked Bobby Petrino.
Talk about some retreads, man. Talk about some retreads.
He's incredibly disingenuous, and he's proven himself to not be a leader's man everywhere he's been. So,
but they like him. He has a good story. Does he have a good agent or a good story? Which one is it?
He has a good offensive mind. That's what he's always been about. That's why he had that Arkansas team playing way over their head, which got him the Atlanta Falcon job, which then got him the Louisville job. I mean, he's a good offensive mind. That's a real thing. But he's not someone that you want to put your trust in, or the trust of your program in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I mean, I remember talking to a lawyer. He said this dude didn't even have the heart to tell the team face to face that he was leaving. He left a letter in everybody's locker. Good luck to you guys in the middle of the season. Who does that?
Definitely left Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of Angel Reese? The situation with Angel Reese, LSU, Kim Mulkey.
Kim, I haven't looked into that too much. I don't know if it's just because I don't want to know why, because I'm not that curious, or just I don't really understand the weird set of circumstances around it. I just know that she got reinstated. I've never really understood why she wasn't with the team to begin with. It just sounded strange, so I didn't really pursue it too much.
Well, probably some of her just not working hard. There's probably some of that into it, and then Mulkey just not really sharing a lot of this action. Trying to argue with the media to tell them it's none of their business, but at the same time, so that kind of makes the situation weird as well. But yeah, Angel Reese, just being full of herself. She making as much as a coach is, so probably some of that just being full of herself. But talking about being full of themselves right here, man, it was a tough week, fans. It was a tough week. I was in line. I was on a 3-game winning streak. I was on a 3-game winning streak, fans, last week. But now I'm still in 7th place, 5-7. A shameful place to be. Finally, somebody scored more points than me. Somebody eclipsed me as the number 1 scorer in the league. Tony's team, who I ended up beating a couple weeks ago. Man, last week was a tough week, fans. If we can look at let's see if we can pull up what happened last week. It was a tough week.
Well, I'm sure it was much more heartbreaking for me than it was for you, Cam.
I mean, look by looks at it, we lost by about the same as many points.
I left 45 points on the bench, trying to micromanage and just not letting my players do what they do. 45 points on the bench.
We'll take a look at that. I mean, I didn't get anything out of Mixon. Jalen Warren didn't get what I usually been getting out of Warren. Puka didn't give me anything. He didn't give me anything. Puka. I left Hubbard on a bench, who actually been decent for me. And this guy makes it so shameful. This guy played me without a running back. Like, wow.
That is shameful.
And
wow.
Yeah, I lost by two.
You need the whole team. That's wild.
2 freaking points. I mean, Jamar Chase is my number one guy. I got Browning throwing to him. Herbert gave me. I mean, that's Herbert's worst performance of the season right there. So, it was a bad look. It was a bad look for me all the way around, fans. And I lost by 2 points. So that was a bad look. Let's look and see what Cleveland did. Let's look back at last week because he had it was a close loss for you. Who'd you leave on the bench?
I lost by less than 2 points. I left Pacheco and Zay on the bench.
Ooh, Zay right there. Oh yeah, you did leave some big points on the bench. And who'd you decide to play instead of Pacheco?
So ODB had been catching all the passes.
How'd you play Charbonnet against the Rams? Or against the 49ers? What was the logic?
Because he was going to get all the carries. They hadn't really been using Pacheco the way they used him against the Raiders, man. That was the first time he was really getting off like that since like week 4 or 5. And then my man Shaheed, everybody was so high on, he ended up getting hurt like halfway through the first quarter. I mean, 2 points. Could have got one more pass, I win that game. If I don't make the playoffs and I don't get to the championship, it will be this week. Me overthinking things is where it went all wrong.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. So, man, yeah, I feel you, man. This was an ugly week. So this week, I'm up against Squad Up, who's in second place. You got your boy Tony T Machine, who's in third place. I mean, I need you to lose. Let's go, Tony, or let's go, T Machine. I need NWA to lose. I need a few people to lose, and I need to win. I need to beat Jared. Jared don't know how to play that. I think Jared made the most moves though out of everybody. If you look back at it, Jared's been working the telephone lines. Squad Up. He been working the telephone lines right here more so than anybody, trying to wheel and deal and making something happen. But yeah, I gotta beat him. There's 2 weeks left, fans. I think it's 2 weeks left, right? Might be a week left.
Wait, did those guys already clinch the playoffs? 1, 2, and 3?
When the playoffs start? So December 12th. December 12th. That's like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I gotta get in there. 2 weeks. I gotta get in there. Yeah, so you guys better watch your back. Voice of the fans. Where you see them clinching the league, clinching the playoff first.
I thought I saw a star by the 1, 2, and 3 teams.
I couldn't see it. I don't see no star. What are you saying? Oh, right 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Yeah. So these 3 spots are up in the air. I'm coming for one of them. I just need one. Just get in.
So if you lose, you're out. So is that what you're saying? So you'll be eliminated basically if you lose.
No, I didn't say that.
That's what I'm saying. There's not enough games for you to get into the playoffs if you lose.
I need one win. Let me see. After this week, I got.
But no, I get that. If you win, that's great. But if you lose, you're not in the playoffs. you're eliminated from playoff contention at
So
that
it's
point.
2 weeks. It's 2 weeks left in the action. So 2 weeks. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the standings, Cam. Look at the standings.
I saw the standings. It's 2 weeks.
So if you lose, you have no chance of making the playoffs.
I don't know what you're talking about. If I lose, like that's not part of my discussion. I have 2 weeks to get a win. I got to get a win this week and a win next week to feel comfortable. Right? I don't know what you're talking about. I got to get a win.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Sure.
You could try to see it some other way. You try to put some scare into somebody. You can do all you want. But I feel all that sounds like nervousness to me.
No, not really. I'm just saying if you lose, I didn't see how you can make the playoffs, but
no, but I don't know what you're talking about. If this, if that. I need one win and I'm in.
Yeah, I know. 1 week at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Got you.
All that other stuff you talking about, I don't know. Did you watch David Benavidez versus Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade over the weekend?
Nope, but I heard Benavidez won.
Yeah, man, you need to see Benavidez. He's a monster. That is a Tyson. Mike Tyson gave him the great name, the Mexican Monster, and he is a monster by all accounts. So good win out of him.
Well, that means Canelo's not going to fight him
then. That's exactly what that means. Canelo don't want none of him because he's a monster. Yeah, Canelo don't want none of that guy, and it's shameful for boxing because Canelo been avoiding both these guys. Boo Boo Andrade, he has an awkward style, but David Benavidez, man, he took a couple rounds to kind of figure out kind of how he was attacking him, and he just commenced the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, just pounding the shit out of dude. In the 7th round, I don't think dude came out for the 7th round. You got to watch the Benavidez fight. He's going to give you boxing like you want to see boxing. And he's a cool dude. He's he's not from Seattle, but his camp his ringing is in Federal Way. He has a ring in Federal Way. He lives in Renton. So you got to support David Benavidez, man, when he's on. Check him out.
He's from the town. I hear you, man. It's just, just get a little bit bigger, man,
I mean, and this is what you got to quit waiting until they get a little bit bigger. I mean, I don't know how much bigger you want. The kid got 3 belts. How much bigger you want? He waiting for a shot at Canelo. Canelo, they ain't giving him a shot. What do you want him to do? What can he do but beat the people in front of you?
Not really anything, man. He can't do nothing but beat the people in front of him. That's why boxing is so.
And he's pounding the people. And he's pounding the people in front of him. So you can't blame him. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So Canelo give him a shot. I think he beat up Caleb Plant earlier in the year, which was a fight I would have loved. Those are both two cool guys. Without a fight I would have liked to have been at, but they went to distance if I remember correctly. I don't think did he finish Caleb Plant?
Don't recall.
So next fight is December 9. We got Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. Does that fight move you? December 9, Devin Haney's undisputed champion. I think he should beat Prograis, but they talking like it's going to be a good one here. So tune in to the fans. Let us know who you like for this fight coming up. That's you can't. Boxing is now that the year is over, essentially over. There's going to be. I think there's a couple more fights. The biggest fight is going to be Haney though. And Showtime getting out of boxing, so next year is going to be interesting in boxing because whoever takes Showtime's place, whether it's Amazon taking Showtime's place, and that's what it sounds like it's going to be. Because I doubt that the fighters are going to terminate the contracts with PBC, who had the contract with Showtime. I doubt those contracts will be voided and the fighters will be allowed then just to go fight for Top Rank or the Zone. I doubt that's going to happen. probably be PVC making an agreement with Amazon and them showing the fights with these them being the network of choice for these particular fighters coming on, or that PVC has. So that means Spence Crawford would conceivably be on Amazon. If that's the case, we could expect Amazon to, come out the box with some great fights to get people's attention and let them know that we're in the boxing game, right? You can't just all of a sudden let people know that you're coming in the boxing game with casuals like you, and they have some fights that with fighters you haven't heard of. You follow what I'm saying? You're gonna have to come out the box strong. Start the season off strong, right? Start this.
Oh, yeah, you sound like you should be working at marketing for Amazon.
Just saying, with that's what you should probably be doing, right? Amazon, if you're listening, and I might take that job if you call me. Hit me up at Voice of the Fans on Twitter at _ Voice of the Fans. Hit me up, Amazon. I can help you guys do some content management because you guys should come out the box strong. You can't come off the box with. You gotta assert your presence in the boxing industry, assert your presence among boxing fans that you're here and you have a mark. So you guys should be negotiating that David Benavidez Canelo fight and not make it May 5th, where you know Canelo likes to fight on Mexican Labor Day. No, if that's the case, this fight needs to be January 8th. You guys need to come out the box strong, not wait till May. I mean, I'm just saying it needs to come out. You need to come out with a good fight.
Oh, man. Wow. You're giving these networks way too much control and credit, man. No, it's gonna be on the 5th, man.
May 5th?
Yeah.
Mexican. I mean, come on. That's
if
5
months.
months.
If Benavidez wants to fight Canelo, it's gonna be on the 5th.
That's gonna be Mexican Independence Day. I think that's a long time to wait, though. You wait. You start.
Oh, look at you! Wow, you want look at somebody who wants to fight. So quick now.
No, you start. I mean, if you're asserting your presence into the world of boxing, you can't wait till half the year is gone to do so.
Yeah, but you also can't establish your presence of authority telling the biggest name in boxing when he has to fight. That's just not a thing. He tells you when he's going to fight, and then you work around that.
Well, if that's the case, they need to be getting Tank and Haney together in March. I mean, you can't wait till half the year is gone to establish yourself in boxing. I mean, half the season's gone.
I don't really see why not, because boxing just moves at a snail's pace anyways. It's not like the big fights are like, every other week or anything.
We'll see. Difference of opinion. Let me get on the phone. Let me get on the phone like squad up to get on the phone and let these guys know what's going on and how they should be handling their business. Well, fans, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Give Cleveland a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. As always, hit that subscribe button if you like what you hear. Hit that like button. Leave a comment for us. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know how you're consuming the show. Whether you're on H&B Media TV, shout out to Thomas and Pavi and the crew over there. If you're watching the show on there, hit us in the comments. Where are you watching the show? How are you consuming the show? If you're on Voice of the Fans YouTube page, we appreciate the patronage. Thank you for that. Let us know how you're consuming the show. Are you at work? Are you this drive time? Are you a commute? How you enjoying the show? And where you enjoying the show at? Let us know. Let us know those things. You can hit us up at Twitter all throughout the week at _Voice of the Fans, at _Voice of the Fans, and ask some questions. Your questions could be asked or could be answered during the show, depending on your question. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your patronage. We hit you with a couple different things that nobody else gives you plays the number games at the beginning of the show. No other show is doing that. No other show is doing This Week in History and giving you some history lessons throughout the show. So not only do you get some fun, You get the sports banner that you've been wanting to. You get a little history lesson as well. And also, lastly, for the motivational piece, I'm gonna give you a quote, fans. I'm a big quote guy, so I like to give quotes. I've been in every show, Cleveland, with the quote. Today's quote: "The difference between the impossible and the possible lies in a person's determination." The difference between the impossible and the possible lies in a person's determination. That's from the late great Tommy Lasorda, Cleveland. So your determination is gonna your attitude. I know everybody heard your attitudes set your altitude. Same concept. The difference between the impossible and the possible lies in your determination. So be determined to get out there and do what you guys want to do. It can be done. Trust me, I'm a believer in that. I'm an example of that, Cleveland. This show is an example. If you want to do it, you can do it. Just the different steps we've been on, fans. So thank you guys, and we appreciate you guys for being part of the ride. And fans, as always, want to tell you thank you for being a part of the show, and thank you for making our voice your choice.